Graham Moore had built his fortune from nothing. At 38, he owned a chain of boutique hotels across the eastern seaboard, each one a testament to his relentless work ethic and sharp business instincts. But tonight, as his town car pulled up to his Boston brownstone 3 days earlier than expected, business was the last thing on his mind. The Singapore deal had collapsed faster than anticipated, a blessing in disguise, he thought. It meant he could surprise Katarina, his fiancée of 8 months, and spend some quality time with his mother, Eleanor, who had moved in with them after her hip surgery 2 months ago. Graham's key turned silently in the lock. The house was dim, lit only by the soft glow from the living room. He heard voices, Katarina's sharp tone cutting through the quiet evening air. "I told you to stay in your room when I have guests coming over," Katarina snapped. His mother's frail voice responded, trembling. "I just wanted some water, dear. I didn't mean to." "You never mean to, do you? You're always underfoot, always needing something." Graham froze in the hallway, his blood running cold. He pulled out his phone, instinct overriding thought, and began recording as he moved quietly toward the living room. What he saw next would be seared into his memory forever. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unseen connections that change lives, please like this video, comment your thoughts, and where you're watching from. Share it with someone who needs it to stay motivated, and subscribe to our channel, Kindness Arena. Your support keeps these powerful, true stories alive. His elegant, polished fiancée, the woman he'd planned to marry in 3 months, stood over his 72-year-old mother. Eleanor, fragile and unsteady, was trying to use her walker to move toward the kitchen. Katarina's face was twisted with contempt, and as Graham watched in horror, she kicked the walker out from under his mother. Eleanor crashed to the floor with a cry of pain. "Maybe now you'll learn to stay out of my way," Katarina hissed, standing over her. Graham's hand shook as he held the phone steady, capturing every second. His mother was weeping on the floor, trying to reach for her walker, while Katarina simply stood there, arms crossed, looking down at her with disgust. "Katarina!" Graham's voice cut through the room like a blade of ice. She spun around, her face draining of color. "Graham, you're not supposed to be. I thought you were in Singapore until—" "I can see that." He pocketed his phone and strode past her, kneeling beside his mother. "Mom, are you hurt? Can you move?" Eleanor clutched his arm, tears streaming down her weathered face. "Graham, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cause trouble." "You caused nothing, Mom. Nothing at all." He helped her gently to her feet, his jaw clenched so tight it ached. Once she was settled in her chair, he turned to face Katarina. She had composed herself, that practiced, smiling, sliding into place. "Darling, this isn't what it looks like. Your mother fell, and I was just about to help her when—" "Stop." The word hung in the air like a guillotine. "I have it all on video, Katarina. Every word, every moment." The smile vanished. The next morning, Graham's family gathered in the dining room of his home, a room that had hosted celebration dinners and holiday gatherings, now serving as a courtroom of sorts. His younger sister, Jennifer, sat beside Eleanor, holding their mother's hand. His brother, Marcus, leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his expression dark. Jennifer's husband, David, sat quietly at the end of the table. And there, looking defiant despite everything, sat Katarina. "I don't understand why this has to be such a production," Katarina said, examining her manicured nails. "It was a misunderstanding." Graham placed his phone on the table and pressed play. The video filled the silence with damning clarity. Katarina's voice, dripping with venom. The sound of Eleanor falling. The cruel words that followed. When it ended, the room remained silent for a long moment. Jennifer was the first to speak, her voice shaking with rage. "You monster! She's a 72-year-old woman recovering from surgery." "She's always been difficult," Katarina shot back, then seemed to realize her mistake. "I mean, living together has been stressful, and yesterday I just snapped. I apologized to Eleanor this morning." "You didn't apologize," Eleanor said quietly, finding her voice. "You told me that if I told Graham what happened, you'd make sure I was sent to a nursing home." The room erupted. Marcus pushed out from the wall, his voice booming. "You threatened our mother?" This is my house, too. Katarina stood, her composure cracking. I put up with her shuffling around, her medications everywhere, her constant needs. Graham is never here, and I'm left playing nursemaid. I have a life, friends, a social calendar. I didn't sign up to be a caretaker. Graham remained eerily calm, which somehow made his presence more intimidating. You're right about one thing. This is partially my house, which is why you have until this evening to remove your belongings. Anything left behind will be donated. You can't be serious. Katarina laughed, but it was hollow. Graham, we're getting married. You're going to throw away what we have because of one mistake. One mistake. Jennifer stood now, too. You abused an elderly woman. You showed your true character, and it's rotten to the core. Katarina's eyes filled with calculated tears as she turned to Graham. Baby, please. I love you. We can work through this. I'll apologize properly. I'll make it right. The wedding is canceled, Graham said flatly. The ring is mine, and I'll expect it back within the hour. I've already contacted our attorney about the prenup you signed. You'll receive nothing. Nothing. Katarina's mask finally shattered completely. I've spent 2 years with you. I've attended your boring business dinners, smiled for your colleagues, played the perfect fiancé. And now everyone will know exactly what kind of person you really are, Marcus added. You can't show people that video, Katarina said, panic creeping into her voice. That's an invasion of privacy or something. David, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. He was an attorney. Actually, Massachusetts is a two-party consent state for audio recording in situations where there's a reasonable expectation of privacy. However, this occurred in the common area of a home where the homeowner, Graham, had every right to be. More importantly, it documented what amounts to elder abuse, which is a criminal offense. Graham would be well within his rights to share this with authorities. Katarina's face went white. Graham didn't press charges, despite Marcus's insistence. I want her gone from our lives, not tied to us through legal proceedings, he explained later. But he did share the video, selectively. He sent it to Katarina's parents, along with a brief explanation of why the wedding was canceled. He shared it with the few mutual friends they'd had, not out of malice, but to ensure they understood the truth before Katarina could spin her own version of events. The response shocked even him. Katarina's own mother called, weeping, to apologize for her daughter's actions. I don't know where we went wrong, she said. This isn't the girl we raised. Or maybe we just never wanted to see who she really was. 3 of Katarina's friends reached out to Graham privately. Each had their own story of Katarina's cruelty, usually directed at service workers or anyone she deemed beneath her. One recounted how Katarina had mocked a waitress to tears. Another described how she'd accidentally spilled wine on a woman at a charity gala who had received more attention than her. We always made excuses for her, one friend admitted. We told ourselves she was just high-strung or having a bad day. But watching that video, there's no excuse for what she did to your mother. As for Eleanor, she slowly recovered, both physically and emotionally. Graham hired a physical therapist to come to the house 3 times a week. He rearranged his schedule to work from home more often. Jennifer visited daily, and Marcus stopped by every weekend with his kids, filling the house with the laughter Eleanor had been missing. One evening, about a month after the incident, Graham sat with his mother on the back patio, watching the sunset paint the sky in shades of amber and rose. I'm sorry, Mom, he said quietly. I should have seen what she was like. I should have been here more. Eleanor patted his hand with her weathered one. You loved her, or thought you did. We see what we want to see, especially when we're lonely. She looked at him knowingly. You've been lonely for a long time, Graham, even before you met her. He couldn't deny it. His success had come at a cost, long hours, constant travel, relationships that withered from neglect. Katarina had seemed perfect because she demanded so little emotional availability from him. She'd been content with the surface, the nice restaurants, the expensive gifts, the impressive title of being Graham Moore's fiancée. I'm going to do better, he promised. Not just for you, but for myself too. You already are, Eleanor smiled. You're here now. That's what matters. The story of Graham Moore's canceled wedding made quiet rounds in Boston social circles, though Graham himself rarely spoke of it. He focused instead on rebuilding his life with more intention. He promoted his most trusted VP to COO, giving himself the freedom to be more selective about travel. He started having Sunday dinners with his family, a non-negotiable appointment in his calendar, and slowly, carefully, he began dating again, this time paying attention to how women treated others: waitstaff, doorman, his assistant, his mother. Eleanor, fully recovered now, chose to stay in the brownstone. "If you'll have me," she said, and Graham hugged her tight, telling her he wouldn't want it any other way. As for Katarina Morris, she left Boston within 2 months. The social doors that had opened for her as Graham Moore's fiancée closed just as quickly. Her parents, humiliated and heartbroken, reportedly cut her off financially until she sought therapy and made genuine amends for her behavior. Whether she ever did, Graham never knew. He had blocked her number that first day and never looked back. Late one night, as he reviewed contracts in his study, his mother shuffled in with 2 mugs of chamomile tea. "You saved my life, you know," she said, settling into the chair across from his desk. "Mom, I just came home early." "No," she said firmly. "You saw something evil and you acted on it immediately. You protected me. You chose me over someone you thought you loved. Not every son would do that." Graham reached across the desk and took her hand. Every son should. They sat together in comfortable silence, sipping their tea, while outside the window, Boston's lights twinkled in the darkness, a reminder that even in the city's shadows, some homes still held warmth, protection, and the fierce, unbreakable bonds of family. And for Graham Moore, that was worth more than all the millions he'd ever earned. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that kindness and humility is never wasted, and that even broken path can lead to the beautiful places and change of lives, and that pretense kills, please like this video, share it with someone who needs a little hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Arena, because your support keeps stories like this alive and spreading. Tell us in the comment what you would have done differently if you were a millionaire. Or has a stranger's kindness ever changed your life in ways you didn't expect? We'd love to hear your story.